Hi, my name's Daniel. Welcome to the Almagier.net vlog. Today's episode is all about the debts. How much money Birmingham City owes to Birmingham Sports Holdings and how much BSH owes to other people. Football seems to thrive on debts. You only have to look at the Championship to see stories of massive debts to owners at various different clubs. Sometimes it ends positively, like Fulham, who have seen £53 million worth of loans written off in the last week. With other clubs, such as Wigan, it ends with administration, relegation and heartbreak. But exactly who do Birmingham City owe money to? Let's find out. To understand the nature of the debt Birmingham City owes, we need to look at financial instruments such as the accounts. Now, the last accounts that Birmingham City produced were for last season, for the year ending 30th of June 2019, and they were produced at the start of January this year. Now, the thing to remember with accounts is that they are like a snapshot, a financial snapshot. So they tell us about how things were on that date, but they may have changed since then. That's a really important thing to take into account. The key statement for Blues about debt is on page 2 of the accounts, and I'm going to read it verbatim. So it says, at the balance sheet date, funding of £91.4 million has been provided by BSH to Birmingham City Football Club, BCFC, and this amount is shown as due to the ultimate parent undertaking within 1 year. The directors have received written confirmation from Birmingham Sports Holdings that the £91.4 million debt to Birmingham Sports Holdings will not require repayment within 12 months from the date of approval of these financial statements unless BCFC is able to do so. Now, what that means in layman's terms is that Blues basically owe Birmingham Sports Holdings a lot of money. But BSH aren't expecting them to pay it back until they come into, well, a pot full of cash. Now, this is an important statement for the accounts because it allows the club to show it can continue as a going concern. This statement goes on to say, the directors have prepared detailed cash flow forecasts for the period to 31 December 2020 as part of the longer-term forecast prepared for the company. The forecasts show that BCFC needs additional funding of around £54.2 million from Birmingham Sports Holdings for the period from July 2019 to December 2020. Now, what this means is what we all know, that Birmingham City needs huge cash infusions from its parent company in Hong Kong to keep it going. The key thing to remember in this is that £54.2 million is actually the worst case scenario. It doesn't take into account things like money coming in for Jude Bellingham or, for that matter, for what's happened from the coronavirus. Now, as everyone knows, Blues have come into a huge amount of money from the transfer of Jude Bellingham from Blues to Borussia Dortmund. The big question, I guess, is how much of that is going to be reinvested in Blues. And what that comes down to is how much of the debt BSH wants to be paid off or how much less they want to put into the club. And that's a really key question that, without internal knowledge, it's impossible to answer. Now, as I've mentioned before, BSH have borrowed money to put it into the club. So the next question is, where have they borrowed money from and how much they owe? So again, this is a question that we need to look at accounts for. Now, with Birmingham Sports Holdings, we're in a slightly better position. They have to produce accounts every 6 months for the shareholders, and the last accounts that were produced were the 6 months ending December 31st, 2019, and they were produced at the end of February. So we've got a slightly clearer understanding of where they are with their debt. To find out the information we need to go to section 15, borrowings. To the date of the accounts, BSH had 4 open loan facilities, which I'm going to go through in order. So the first loan facility is from Trillium Trophy Asia and is for a maximum 250 million Hong Kong dollars, which is just over 25 million quid, at 4.5% interest per annum. Now, as of the date of the accounts, December 31st, 2019, Birmingham Sports Holdings had used 66.197 million of that facility. It's about 6.7 million, and just over £500,000 in interest. Now, that loan facility has actually not been used for a while. And this is why I said that Paul Soon, who runs TTA, hasn't put any money into the club for a while. The loan facility is in place until the 21st of December this year, but it has been extended once before. The second loan facility is from an unknown third party and is for a maximum 250 million Hong Kong dollars at an interest rate of 8% per annum. Now, BSH have used 110.5 million Hong Kong dollars of that, about 11 million quid. And owe around 725k in interest, and that loan is in place until 30th of June next year. The third loan facility is also from an unknown third party and is for a maximum 250 million Hong Kong dollars and an interest rate of 8% per annum. Now, BSH have used 220 million Hong Kong dollars of that, about 22 million quid, and owe around 460k in interest. The final loan facility is a bit of a strange one, really. It's owed by a fully owned subsidiary of the group in the People's Republic of China to an external lender, and it's for about 4 million renminbi, the Chinese currency. It's about 445k at an interest rate of 5%. As of the end of last year, about £360,000 have been borrowed with an interest of about £3 grand owing. The important figures for me and for everyone else are this. At the end of last year, Birmingham Sports Holdings owed £40 million to various people, including 33 million to unknown third parties. More importantly, they've racked up over £1.5 million in interest charges, which are still accumulating. Now, I can make a guess who those unnamed third parties are, and if you think about it, so can you. But if it is who we think it is, isn't it a bit worrying that they've concealed his identity for the purpose of the accounts? So with all this money owing, what's the end game? As I mentioned at the start of the video, there are two ways this can play out. Now, last week, Fulham's owner wrote off £53 million worth of debts owing by the club to him. The way he did it was he issued 53 million plus shares in Fulham Football Club to himself, which explicitly said was in relation to the debt owing. So in essence, he's got 53 million more shares that are worthless and the club owes nothing, which is fabulous. There's also a negative way this can end. If you look at what happened at Wigan, they were sold by the International Entertainment Corporation to a Hong Kong gentleman by the name of Young YK. Now, what happened when the club was sold, this is the official version, is that Mr. Young decided he didn't want to put any more money into the club and he was going to recall the loan. And Wigan are obviously in no position to repay it, so boom, he dropped the club into administration. Why he did that, I can't tell you because I have no idea. But essentially, the same thing could happen to the Blues. Birmingham Sports Holdings could decide they don't want to put any more money in, and because they're the largest creditors, boom, administration. There are reasons, I think, why Young decided he wasn't going to fund the club anymore, which I'm not going to go into publicly on video, but you can draw your own conclusions. And for me, it's all about why the sugar daddy model of football ownership doesn't work. Because it's great while they put the money in, but as soon as it stops, you're in all kinds of trouble. And if they want the money recalled, then you know what's going to happen. Now, for the next video, I want to explore a little bit more about Birmingham Sports Holdings. I want to talk about the other projects they do, specifically the one in Cambodia. I want to talk about why they got involved with it. I want to talk about why it's controversial and how much money they're making from it, and the links that project has to the elusive Mr. King. If you've enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching, please click like. And also subscribe to the channel for more content about Birmingham City, its owners, and the way the club is run. If you tick the little notification bell, you'll get notified when I post a new video. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep right on.